Welcome back to the last podcast. Today's topics we will be covering the current rankings of the conferences and their standings, both in football and basketball, and as a whole, and what that football and sports landscape is looking like. And then later on, we'll go into a little bit of a NASCAR preview for the playoffs and then potentially some Formula One as well, go to the racing side of things. So to start off, I alluded to it yesterday, but the current standings of the football conferences, the major four conferences right now, are definitely inflated. Specifically, the Big Ten and Big 12, I think, are ranked incorrectly. I think even the ACC, every now and then, you get someone saying, hey, the ACC deserves to be ahead of the Big 12. I strongly disagree. I think the one thing I can agree on is the SEC is supreme right now. The SEC is going to be a solid four-bid league, potentially even a five-bid league if they get a couple things to fall their way. But they are a four-bid, five-bid league. And for the most part, everybody in that league is capable of winning games against other power conference teams almost the whole way through. Maybe not Kentucky, maybe not Arkansas, but for the most part, the teams in the SEC are able to go out and win big games when they need to. And I think that's a similar thing you can carry over to the Big 12. The Big 12, for the last couple years, especially last year is a great example. Last year, Arizona State was chosen to be the 16th team. BYU is chosen to be around, I believe, 14. And those were the two best teams in the conference last year. This year, look at the teams who are at the top of the standings. You got your Cincinnati, your Houston, your BYU. Those teams, as shown here, two of them are shows long shot. BYU's in the running, but I can promise you, if they're truly ranking those, it's probably that left side's the higher side. BYU's probably around the 9. So if you're just looking at it from here, there's quality teams everywhere in here. Let's look at overall. 8-0, 7-1, 7-1, 7-1. All of those teams right there are your title contenders currently. Arizona State, Kansas State, TCU, Iowa State, Baylor, Kansas, and even Arizona, I think are all bowl quality teams. Shoot, even UCF every now and then can rip off a good year. Same with Colorado last, even though I think Colorado was just carried by their schedule last year. That can't be translated over to the ACC or the Big Ten. There is not that parity in those conferences from top to bottom. Specifically, the Big Ten, who is widely touted as this number 2 conference, number 1 conference right now. They have no depth. There's about 4 teams currently that I think are good. I think the top 3 are the only truly quality teams in the Big Ten right now. Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana. Those are the only playoff bids that they're going to get. You're going to look and say now, oh, 6-2, 6-2, 5-2. Oh, those are good teams. Oh, USC lost to Notre Dame. That's a good loss. Not in my eyes. I think USC are frauds. I think Michigan is extremely inflated by their brand size. I think Iowa is decent, but I think Iowa, I mean, as shown here, they're not ranked in the true AP, but they probably should be. There is rarely, outside of the traditional Big 4, Big 5 brands, rarely a team that wins the Big 10 outside of Penn State, Michigan, Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana, currently. That is where my main argument is at. The Big 12, while there are bad teams, Oklahoma State and West Virginia are bad. They have a long way to go to get to where Cincinnati, where BYU, where Houston have built themselves up to be. And yet, I would still probably choose those teams over Wisconsin, Purdue, Michigan State. Shoot, I might pick them over Penn State. That's how bad Penn State is this year. What's the last time you heard of a good Rutgers team, a good Maryland team? Illinois, extremely overrated. Same at UCLA. I mean, here we're going off of conference ratings. They're still a bad team. That win over Penn State is looking worse and worse and worse every single week. Washington, I truly believe is underrated. I think they're pretty good. I think they're top 25 caliber. But they're not going to go out and win you a title. They're not going to go out and go to the playoffs consistently like your Ohio States, like your Oregons. You might get a 1 in every 5 years USC team that's that caliber. Same with Michigan, especially after there's fiascos with cheating. Nebraska hasn't been good since the 90s. Northwestern is the perennial garbage team from the Power Five ever since Vanderbilt got good. Minnesota, sometimes I forget they're even in the Big Ten just because they're there. And that is really where my argument is. The Big Ten is touted as the number two conference, not because they have the quality throughout, and that goes into other sports too. Not because they have quality throughout, but they have brands, a couple big brands. Michigan and USC are two of the biggest brands in the country. Penn State is a decent sized brand. That's a pretty dang good brand. That stadium, one of the best environments in the country. Ohio State, they're your national champions. Indiana, dude, I love what Kirk Cinnetti's doing over there. I wouldn't necessarily say Indiana is a big brand, but if Kirk Cinnetti keeps doing what he's doing, yeah, maybe. Oregon, they're Oregon. They're the Nike flagship school. They're going to have a big brand. But all these other schools, their brands have been severely diminished by the fact that they're just in the conference to begin with. UCLA's brand has gone so far down. Same with Nebraska ever since they left the Big 12, Big 8. Washington, are you serious? With the Big 12, you've got storylines the whole way throughout that aren't just, oh, hey, look at Illinois, it's Illinois. Let's rank them in the top 9, even though they don't deserve to be there. The Big 12, Iowa State's a good brand. Baylor, Kansas, obviously not known for football, but they're getting better. They've had a couple good programs. Jade Daniels, great. TCU's TCU. Kansas State, they've been pretty good for the last couple of years, really struggling right now. I don't really know what they're doing on the field right now. Arizona State made the playoff last year. Utah, part of the best rivalry in the country. Houston, Texas Tech, Cincinnati, they are all good brands in every sport. Colorado, even how bad they are on the field. Deion Sanders is a good brand. He's good for the Big 12. He's good for college football. And until the AP and until ESPN recognizes that the AP and these conference ratings aren't just brand ratings and they're actual team ratings and actual conference as a whole ratings. In my eyes, the Big 12 has been the number two conference for the last couple of years, especially since they added BYU, since they added those Pac 12 schools. Don't even get me started on the ACC. The ACC is garbage. They're genuine garbage. But aside from that, there's not much more to say. Um, the SEC is still far and away the number one football conference. If we get into basketball now, last year the SEC was touted as the number one. I completely disagree. In fact, I would say the Big 12 was the best conference by a long shot last year. The Big East was okay. The SEC had good programs. Auburn, Florida, Alabama, those were good teams. I'm not quite sure, though, that all of those teams at that upper mid tier of the SEC are better than the quote upper mid tier of the Big 12. Texas Tech last year, Iowa State, Baylor, Kansas, Arizona, all of those teams are incredible historically. Same with Iowa State now. The Big 12 is so top heavy in basketball. And now this year, they've got three true national title contenders, borderline four. Iowa State, BYU, Texas Tech, and Houston could all go win a national title this year, and I would not be surprised. Houston, obviously the favorites for basketball this next year in basketball. But that will be something you have to see throughout this starting half of the year. You got a couple big games coming up for the Big 12 in the season. BYU plays UConn. That could very well be a Final Four pregame for March. BYU plays Houston in the year. Texas Tech looks incredible. Iowa State looks formidable. Baylor, Kansas, and Arizona are always good. Cincinnati is okay. There are teams up and down this conference that can go out and win big things and do more than just sit there, like in the Big Ten, like in the SEC, like in the ACC specifically. There's very few and far between court fillers, field fillers in the Big 12 in comparison to those other conferences. Okay, so the next part of the show, we will be going through the racing side of the stuff. Go touch on Formula One, give a little precursor to the Final Four races, and then we'll go into the NASCAR side. So, Formula One, Mexico is an incredible race. The title is now very close. Max still needs a little help. He needed perfection this last week. He didn't really get it. Lando drove an incredible drive, 30-second win. Max should have finished second if not for the bad virtual safety car at the end of the race, but we go by that. Coming up on these next couple tracks, these are some of Max's best tracks in general. If I'm Lando Norris, I need another win or two to be safe. There's still, I believe, one or two more sprint races here. And that means Max can make up a lot of points really quick if McLaren has a US sprint again. I think Oscar Piastri, while he is second, while he's only 1 point back, I think he's effectively out. His pace has dropped off a cliff. There is almost no confidence. He was losing time in every single corner in Mexico. Oscar has historically not been the best at these three tracks. Lando and Max have. I would not be surprised if in the coming weeks you see by Qatar, Max is in second. Oscar is floundering. I still have my pick of Lando winning the title. I still think Max is going to get close. Out of the remaining 5 or 6 competitions going on at the end of the season, I think Max wins 4 of them. I have Max winning Brazil. I have Max winning Vegas. I have Max winning Dubai. And then the Brazil sprint at minimum. And there's always the opportunity for Lando or for Oscar to not show up, for them to take points off each other, for an Oscar Piastri or for a Leclerc, for a Hamilton, for a Russell to take points off, to go out and have an incredible drive. It's going to come down to the wire. This is shaping up to be an incredible end to the championship. And I really think that Max might do it. I still think Lando will save it, but it's roles reversed from last year. Max is chasing now, and you don't want to be chased by Max in this day and age of Formula One with how he is driving. I would not be want to be chased by him right now. So that rounds up Formula One. NASCAR going on the final race at Phoenix Raceway. We'll go through all 3 series. We'll go Truck Series to Cup Series, go through the final 4 in each, and then we will choose the winner. Choose my prediction. Crafted Truck Series, Tyler Ankrum, Ty Majeski, Caden Honeycutt, and Corey Heim. Couple good storylines here. Tyler Ankrum's kind of the outlier, if it would. He's not necessarily the quickest truck. He kind of got in by the byproduct of this playoff format, which I hate. A couple bad things went on last week at Martinsville that kind of knocked a couple of these racing drivers out. And I don't think he has much of a chance. Caden Honeycutt, great story. He's bounced around from 3 different trucks this season. He's filling in for the injured Stuart Friesen, who had a terrifying crash in the middle of the season. In that truck, in the final 4, I would love to see him win. I don't think he has the pace to keep up with Ty Majeski and Corey Heim. Ty Majeski, he's good. Thor Sport consistently produces championship quality teams and trucks. But I think the mountain that is Corey Heim is going to be impossible to mount. Corey Heim has been incredible all year. He is outright the quickest truck I have ever seen in the truck series. I don't like Toyota. I would love to be able to pick a Chevy or a Ford to win this title, but I cannot pick against Corey Heim. He's too quick. He's too consistent. It's not going to work out for anybody else. Corey Heim will be my pick for the Truck Series title. Xfinity. Now I can pick a Chevy. 3 JRM Hendrick affiliated drivers and cars, and then Jesse Love and RCR. Jesse Love, I don't think will get there. I just don't think he will. I think he's quick. I think Carson Kvapil is quick. Carson Kvapil's a good rookie. He's been pretty okay all year. Same with Jesse Love. RCR hasn't necessarily had the pace that they've had in the past outside of Austin Hill, but Austin Hill is a bit of a joker. So the favorites all year have been Allgaier Zilich. Zilich is setting records left and right. He's only 19. He's one of the most impressive drivers I've ever seen. He's going up to Cup Series next year, and I want to see him get a title done. I believe he went something like 16 races straight with top 5s. Justin Allgaier is the only driver that has remotely touched him all year. And he beat the cut line with a race to go plus 83. So Zilich is my pick. Zilich and Heim They're two rookies in their respective series in Trucks and Xfinity. I could see potentially the experience from Allgaier maybe helping him out if something tangles up Zillage. But unfortunately, I just don't see Carson Kvapil or Jesse Love having a remote chance in this race. I really want to say Allgaier because he's been my guy in Xfinity for a long time. But I think Connor Zilic will win the title. I think he might go out and lead every lap. That's how good he is. We get a Chevy at least. But moving on to the Cup Series gets a little interesting. This one's obviously the one I know most about because I actually watched this one because the stupid streaming deals on the other two. But two Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas, two Hendrick Motorsports Chevys. It's going to be a good race. It's going to be potentially one of the best Final Fours you ever had. Obviously, I do disagree with this. This comes down to more of a formatting issue with the playoffs and with the bracket that they run. I am a Chase Elliott fan through and through. Him being out of this is kind of atrocious. He's the best average finish driver all year. He's the most consistent. He's rarely wrecked out of races that were like explicitly his fault. Talladega in the round of 8 killed him. Las Vegas, the race I went to, he made a dumb mistake on pit road, or his pit crew, I'd rather say, made a dumb mistake on pit road, effectively took him out of that race when he had the pace all day. In these last 8 races, the best car consistently has been Kyle Larson, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, and Briscoe. I love Chase Elliott. I think he's quick. I think he's competitive. I think he has a shot. I think he should be here. If I could expand it to 5, he would be the 5. Except these 4, Chase Briscoe has the most top 5s all year, the most poles. He's deserving of it. He is the one driver I would have to knock out if I was going to put Chase Elliott in, just because he doesn't have the wins, but he has the pace. Denny Hamlin, winningest driver in the series this year, the kind of grizzled veteran of the series, just reached 60 wins. He has the most wins in the series currently. William Byron went out and showed that he can win in tight spots with pressure last week at Martinsville, beat Ryan Blaney in his own game. He was quick here in the spring. Same with Hamlin and Larson. Larson is Kyle Larson. He's the golden boy. He's the most talented driver in the series. And for all the things he does wrong, I agree. I fell into kind of the category of season of where's Kyle Larson at? What does he do? He's kind of missing. And while they're struggling to find victory lane every week like they have been in years past, he's still quick. It's hard to pick it here. I can't pick Chase Briscoe. His last time he was winning in this car or at this track was with Stewart Haas Racing in the spring race, I believe of 2023 or 2022. I don't have him winning. I love him. I want him to be good, except I just can't. I cannot pick him. Denny Hamlin, he's been here, done that every single time. He has choked it away at the last minute. And I have no reason to believe he's not going to do it again. Both Briscoe and Hamlin blew their engines in Martinsville. That raised a couple question marks for me. That kind of scared me if I was Joe Gibbs. I'm not going to pick a Toyota here to win the title. It comes down to Larson and Byron. Kyle Larson won a championship already. He's one of the best drivers in the series. William Byron, driving the iconic number 24. He has the flames on the paint scheme this week. Looks like 2007 Jeff Gordon all over again. I believe in momentum. He won the regular season. He won when he needed to most last week. He has the most momentum out of the series. He overcame some chaos at Talladega and Las Vegas. My pick for the title is William Byron to win outright. Obviously, if you don't know the format, it's basically whoever finishes first out of the four. Yes, all the other 40 drivers race. But I believe William Byron wins. I believe Kyle Larson finishes second. Denny Hamlin is going to be heartbreak again. For as much as I hate him, he's done good this year. And I think it's going to be heartbreak again. Chase Briscoe is not quick here consistently at Phoenix. And maybe the mistakes at Martinsville were a byproduct of them preparing for the future. But again, my picks: Heim, Zilich, Byron. William Byron becomes a first-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. Obviously, this race is on at 3:00 Mountain Time on Sunday, and it's going to be an incredible finish to the NASCAR Cup Series season. Hopefully next year we get a good playoff format that actually rewards consistency and lets Chase Elliott win another title. But from there on, right now, looks like William Byron's going to win. That's my pick, and that is the show for the day.